Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So this is taken from part 2, chapter 8, Just Over the Rainbow. Sometimes what you're searching for is closer than you think. If only you surrender to the moment and open your eyes, ears, mind, and heart to all of the messages around you. All else will fall effortlessly into place, and before you know it, you will receive all of your heart's desires and more. Then that day came. After almost a year in Tobago, I finally made the decision to resign from my job and begin a brand new chapter of my life. Somehow working and living in paradise provided the impetus to follow my dream for real this time. My experiences, both positive and negative, acted as the catalyst for my decision. It allowed me to develop all of my capabilities and connect more deeply with my true purpose. I vividly remember the feelings I had when I hosted a Mother's Day event for the staff where I worked. The activities I asked my colleagues to engage in elicited a synergy of sharing their most innermost experiences of motherhood. What struck me the most was how they all listened attentively to one another and were able to relate to the stories of their peers. I also played games with my colleagues, and while some danced, others laughed and had fun in the moment. While I relaxed on my porch that Friday evening, I called my mother and told her what I witnessed earlier that day. I told her that this is what I should be doing for the rest of my life. My CEO at the time congratulated me for having such an effect on the staff, which he said was rarely seen. My friends at work also expressed similar sentiments and told me how much they enjoyed the evening. Just as in my last job, my new co-workers were anxiously looking forward to the next event. I felt like I was doing something meaningful. Although I was contemplating my next career move as early as May of that year, I did not have the courage to actually act on it until November. The book, The Dream Giver, made me translate the thinking into doing. It made me realize that life is so much more than an 8-to-4 job. I needed to make a bigger impact outside of working for someone else. I had to follow my own dream and build my brand where more people could acknowledge and fully appreciate what I brought to the world. I wanted others to be inspired to also follow their own dream and live their purpose. So I decided to become an entrepreneur. Although it was a gradual process, the actual decision happened overnight. My trip home to Trinidad, coupled with the book I read and a few other factors, stirred me into action. The thoughts seemed to just connect in my head, and it was as though one day I woke up and suddenly had an aha moment. Just like that, I concluded that the moment for change had come. I made my decision in November and stuck with it, and began to put things in place for my new life. I did not have a clear plan, but I knew that this was what I should be doing with my life. I had a new direction and felt motivated to step even further outside of my comfort zone and channel my creativity and gifts into a brand new realm. Although the experience in Tobago was fabulously eye-opening and I would miss it terribly, I knew I had much more to give. I knew I wanted to return one day to live there, but family came first. I had to leave my island paradise to reconnect with my father, who needed me more. I also took this opportunity to forge ahead with my dream. In December 2013, I handed in my resignation for the second time in 2 years to 2 different companies, said my teary goodbyes, and packed my bags for a one-way trip home. After saying goodbyes all week, my last day at the office was bittersweet, as is usually the case. With complimentary Christmas ham and turkey from the company in tow, I decided to end the year in Tobago with a fantastic lobster dinner, followed by a nighttime stroll in Scarborough's botanical gardens for the spectacular Christmas lighting up. That weekend, I packed, cleaned, and said more goodbyes and set sail for home. I was really looking forward to celebrating Christmas with my family, who I hadn't seen for longer than 5 days at a time in the past year. I left for the family reunion just days before Christmas, and the boat ride was very emotional. I was able to clear my head and reflect on the entire year and all it brought to my life, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the absolutely fantastic. I was even more overcome with emotion when I returned to Tobago in January to finish pack, return the keys to my landlord, and completely move out of my apartment that had been home to me for the past 12 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Garlene. You know, only when other people are reading your stuff, you realize, wait a minute, oh my gosh, did I really write that? You know, it was so inspiring to hear that that was my journey. Let me tell you a little bit of what the memoir is about, which is this book, How to Find Yourself and Claim What's Yours. It's a memoir of my professional journey over the last 6 years. So it's how I transitioned from a dreamer to a doer, how I was able to overcome the obstacles I spoke about earlier, breaking into the field that I loved, and how I worked in HR for 7.5 years, permanent job, good benefits, decent pay, to embark on a 2-year contract in Tobago in the field that I wanted to work in, when many people said I couldn't and shouldn't do it. I remember people said it all, including my family, not my mother. My mother and father were the only ones who were very, very supportive.